Okay, guys, so what I'm going to share with you today is how we help our patients with cheating death. We have very specific type of patients that are high achievers, top athletes, that for them it's very important to never be sick. And I'm going to share with you what are these things that we do to them. Before we start, who can tell me what is the number one cause of death in the world? Who, sorry? Harder. The one, by the way, the one that tell me the correct answer will get peptides from me for free. Heart disease, I hear. What else? Injuries, starvation, accidents. Okay. So who said first heart disease? No, there was one person here. You? Okay, you. So you get from me one peptide, come to me later. That's not the correct answer, but because of she was the first that told it. The correct answer is medical errors. Medical errors is the number one cause of death, unfortunately. If you go to WHO, it's only 250,000, but only 1 out of 10 get reported. So it's 2.5 million people die every year from medical death, medical errors. So you will think, how come? It's 2025. How the heck is possible with all the science, all the knowledge, that people are still dying from medical errors? So there are a couple of reasons. Reason number one is that the delay of medical science before becoming discovered until it becomes mainstream, it's 17.2 years. That's on average. So some of the things that we discovered, like example peptides, exist more than 40, 50, 60 years, but only in the last 4, 5, 10 years we started using them, right? For example, I'll give you some other examples. Half-life of medical knowledge is 76 days. That means a doctor, when they graduate, after 76 days, they need to upgrade and update their knowledge. The average consultation in the Western world is only 18 minutes. What the heck are you going to learn about the patient, about his lifestyle, nutrition, stress, supplements in 18 minutes? Very difficult. And the last thing is reference range. What do I mean with the reference range? For example, testosterone. At this moment, the average reference range of testosterone is 476 nanogram per deciliter. Your grandfather and my grandfather had 912 nanogram per deciliter. That's less than half we are today. So the reference range changed in the last 60, 70 years. So some examples I'm going to give you that patients are surprised that we can solve them. An average patient sees 6.8 doctors before they come to us. Some of these problems are Hashimoto. 100% of the cases of Hashimoto are solvable. 100% of autistic children, when they come to us and we do a transplant of stool and we optimize their guts, they become better. Not everyone gets cured, but everyone, 100% of them get better. Diabetes type 2, 100% of the patients don't stop using insulin. Chronic fatigue, libido, injuries. 72% of injuries that are not solvable suddenly are solvable if you use the right new methodologies. So why this is happening? And why would you want actually to solve these things? Something that I called inflation of knowledge. You have to think like this. In 150 years ago, if you could read and write, big chance you can become millionaire. Nowadays, good luck if you get a cleaning job. Same with your health. 150 years ago, if you would live in a small village and you will buy ecological, organic, and local and seasonal food, small chance, like ignorance was a bliss. Now ignorance is a start of metabolic diseases, neurodegenerative diseases, cancer. You do not want to be ignorant. Right? At this moment, you need to be the CEO of your own biology. So a lot of in congresses, they ask me, okay, what is the number one thing that I can do to optimize my health? What is the number one hack? Then I'm going to give you two. Number one is the most powerful, is who you marry. It sounds weird, but who you marry will have the most effect on your health out of everything else you do. And number two is with who's your tribe. With who do you live? With who do you sport and train? And that's going to be the second part. So if you are in an unhealthy environment, change your environment and you will change your health. And I know that's easier said than done. And that's why I'm going to share with you some hacks where you can be a leader in your tribe and tell them, hey, these are the things that nowadays that's going to become mainstream in 20, 30 years that we are already using today. Anyone heard of a guy called Weston Price, Dr. Weston Price? Yeah, awesome. Okay. For you, also Peptide. Come to me later together. So what do you know about him? Whatever did you hear?
He was a dentist that traveled the world and studied teeth.
Exactly. So he was a dentist that traveled for 42 years around the world to find how is the health of the cavities and the teeth of indigenous tribes. And what he found out while traveling, he found 14 populations all around the world, from Sub-Sahara to Alaska, from Australia to Switzerland, from Latin America to North America. And what he found very weird is that he found these people are never sick. I'm talking no cancer, no diabetes, no autoimmune diseases, nothing. The little ones and these 80-year-old people. And he found it because he thought, hey, wait a minute, in Alaska, they don't eat vegetables. And in Sub-Sahara, they definitely don't eat fish. So what is the perfect diet? And he found out there is a pattern. And these are 5 things that he found out I'm going to share with you that we teach our patients what to do. Because a lot of them, they come to me and say, no, I don't want to eat fish, I don't want to eat meat, I'm vegetarian, I'm only carnivore, I'm keto. These 5 things are, number 1, organs. All of them ate organs. And I'm very happy here to be in Saudi Arabia because organs is one big part of your tradition. And organs is one of the reasons why women, by the way, don't have much less anemia in this country than in other countries because of organs. Organs makes the iron in your body more bioavailable, right? So organs was number 1. Number 2 was raw milk and raw butter was number 3. And here, your camel milk, a lot of them is raw. So raw milk and raw butter has very beneficial properties that I'm not going to talk about it today, but that has found a pattern in all these places. And number 4 is they were all living tribal. Right? There was always 3 generations under one roof. When I discovered this, I called my parents and I told them, get your ass here. You're not allowed anymore to live by yourself. And they live now with us. 3 generations under one roof has a huge effect on your happiness and longevity. And number 5 is they all ate 0 processed foods. And that's why when people come to us and they tell us, but my genetics tell me this or that, we tell them, stop the genetic test, you don't need it. Why? Because Dr. Weston Price found out that these tribes had a very high predispositions for cancer and diabetes. And when he put some of these people into the Western world, suddenly the rate of diabetes and cancer went up to 72%. 72%. So they were definitely genetic predisposed. And I don't want you to use genetics as an excuse to not be healthy or not to do something about your future. Yes? So what are imagine you have to work on your health. What will that be? Like, what is because we don't have time to work out or to sport or to train or to to work on your health for 3 hours a day. No one here has time. 20, 30 minutes. What is the 20% of the 20%? And if you have to choose one thing, it will be your gut. And all disease, we believe in our clinic, all diseases, they start with the gut and they end with the gut. Why? I'm going to give you some examples. There are 400 times more melatonin receptors in your gut than in your brain. So your sleep is regulated in your gut. Depression, anxiety, 92% of serotonin is optimized and created in your gut. It's secreted in your gut. Your hormones is in your gut. Heavy metals and detoxification process and absorption is in the gut. So your gut is one of the most important organs to optimize before anything else. If your stool is not optimal, if you look at your stool and it's not optimal, it's your body talking to you. If it's small pieces, it's your body talking to you. If it's too liquid, it's your body talking to you. And that's why we get often people says, I don't understand. I eat healthy, I sport 3 times a week, and suddenly I got this. No, your body was talking to you for a very, very long time. And there are 7 stages of disease. Stage 7 is cancer, autodegenerative diseases, autoimmune diseases, and other nasty diseases. Stage 1, which is called the innervation stage, it's your gut. So that's why you want to listen to what's coming out of your body every day and pay attention to it, because it's telling you something. So today we're going to talk about peptides. I'm the clinical director of a longevity clinic. We're in the United States, Canada, Europe, and Middle East. And we also are a producer of a GMP lab producing peptides and stem cells and exosomes. And because we sell to more than 700 clinics worldwide, every day we get feedback from their patients. And it's a lot of data that we gather and we learn from our distributors, from the clinics that we sell to, about what's working on peptides. And peptides at this moment is a hot item, right? Everyone is talking about peptides, but peptides exist more than 100 years. Insulin is the first peptide, right? One of my mentors is the anti-aging doctor of Putin. Right? The reason why Putin is so strong and smart is because of Dr. Kevinson. And I was at his funeral a couple of years ago, unfortunately, God bless his soul. And a lot of people, one of the questions that a lot of people tell me, yes, but there is not enough data or human research. It's only on mice and rats. Yes, in the Western world. There are only 12 studies in the Western world. In Croatia and in Russia, there are more than 1,232 studies on humans with peptides, right? So how come we never learned about peptides? And the reason is because it's bioidentical to your body. Your body already have 250,000 peptides, and people, let's call them big pharma, cannot put a patent on it. And if you cannot put a patent on it, you can make less money on it, right? So that is one big reason. Another reason is there is not enough research about it, so a lot of people are scared to use it, or they think it's steroids. Plus, when there is a market that is flooded with cowboys, we have seen a surge of people getting hospitalized because of peptides, because they are taking for research purposes only, that are not stable, they are full of microplastic, heavy metals. So my advice to you, if you think, yeah, I've heard about peptides, I want to learn about peptides, I want to use peptides for myself, for my mother, for my patients, for my friends, I advise you to think about 3 things. Number 1 is find a GMP, ideally CGMP lab that is producing peptides. You do definitely not want, I have a dog, right? Usually my dog is a Doberman. Usually they live until 9-10 years. He's now 14 years old. And the reason is peptides. And I will never give her research purposes only peptides. So having said that, number 2 is you want to make sure that you have the right protocol, which means finding a medical doctor that is not only a medical doctor, but is also experienced with peptides and use peptides on his patients. Why? Because if you take the stack that is not an optimal stack, 2 peptides can negate each other effects. You can have supplements that are negating the effect of peptides. You can have a lifestyle that is not optimizing peptides. And we get a lot of patients that say, oh yeah, I've used peptides that did not work on me. And then we look at their lifestyle and say, yeah, I understand why it didn't work. So we have to first optimize the foundation. Peptides will get you there faster and stronger, but they're definitely not the foundation. Yes? So what is the foundation? The foundation, if you have to optimize a thing in your body to make the peptides more bioavailable, there are 2 things. Number 1 is your hormones. You have to think like this. You have 10 to 12 billion receptors in your body of hormones. Every cellular process is ignited through hormones. And without that, and people come to us and they have very low hormones and they want to use peptides. Don't make sense. Number 2 is your receptor sensitivity. How to optimize your receptor sensitivity to absorb peptides and other supplements is by taking out parasites and heavy metals and toxins. These 2 things will be the 80% of anti-aging. If you have to do only two things, these two things will be the highest ROI on your time and money. So how do these heavy metals and toxins come? Unfortunately, through environmental toxins, perfume, alcohol, creams, a woman at 10 a.m. nowadays in the Western world have put 168 toxins by 10 a.m. in the morning on her skin or through showering. Right? So yeah, that's a big thing for us. Heavy metals and hormones. Another thing that we have learned from one of our mentors, Hans Kruger. Hans Kruger was the director of the Anti-Aging Society of the United States. And what he did during 50 years, he was a medical doctor, he wanted to know what is the number one thing that will give more longevity to my patients. And he split tested everything. And he found out if you are smoking and training versus you're not smoking and non-training, the group of people that were smoking and training outlived the people that were not smoking but not training. So if you have to do one thing, training is your highest ROI on anything else that you're going to do. And it will give you also a buffer for toxins and hormones. I just got today a talk with a kid. He's 27-year-old. He said, yeah, I'm going to start using human growth hormone to get more muscles, to look stronger. I said, the fastest way to optimize your human growth hormone is go outside and do a sprint 3 times per day, 12 seconds. That will give you the same amount of 4 international units of human growth hormone, and that's a lot. And this is, by the way, a PubMed study where they put people on sprinting, just sprinting. Think about yourself. When was the last time you sprinted? Most people was decades ago. Sprinting will ignite your human growth hormone in an amazing way. We always put our patient on sprinting protocol. Another thing what I love about peptides is that for every pathology that is being solved by a synthetic drug, there is a peptide that will solve that problem. Obviously, it comes with lifestyle, but there is always a peptide that will solve. And it can be, as I said, from recovery of muscles, injuries, brain fog, libido, hormonal disbalances, menopause. We use a lot of peptides for to optimize also the female hormones. Unfortunately, females are misdiagnosed and underrepresented in the medical field. This is a bit a summary of peptides. I didn't want to kill you by PowerPoint, but I can show you a couple of numbers that the team put there. Let me see how this thing works. Okay, that we discussed it. Yes, this is medical errors. You see 250,000, but only 1 out of 10 get reported. What you digest, definitely. This is the doctor that went all around the world. And as you see, on one side, they had 0 type of pathologies. Once they went into the modern world, suddenly they got many, many diseases. Sleep, a lot of people, they come to us, they say, oh, no, I already sleep 8 hours per day. There is something, and they discovered this only in February last year, there is something in your brain, a liquid called the glymphatic system. And what it does, it detox your brain from the buildup of toxins through environments, through stress, through many other ways. And it only works between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So if you sleep at 1 a.m. and after 8 hours sleep you wake up and you still feel shit, that's because the glymphatic system did not get activated. Right? So you definitely want to mitigate that effect by, and out of everything, sleep is the number one hack after who you choose who you marry. Yeah, the norm, we discussed it, that has been changed. This is the fertility. This is hormesis. I'm a big fan of hormesis, by the way. Hormesis, for the people who doesn't know, is bringing mini type of stress to your body. It can be an ice bath, it can be a sauna, it can be training, it can be fasting. And I definitely advise you to add hormesis in your lifestyle. Like in this November, it will be 23 years that I didn't get sick, not one day, not a flu, not a cold. And the reason is hormesis. And I really tried, even during COVID. So hormesis is one of my big, adding to peptides. Obviously, I use also a lot of peptides to optimize my immunity. We discussed also about peptides. This is the reason why most people have many modalities and pathologies that before was not there, right? Since 1950, for example, the contraceptive pill. The contraceptive pill is a steroid, first of all, and that women are taking on a day-to-day basis. And it's a steroid that they are urinating this in our water, and all cities' filtration systems are filtrating on toxins, but not on hormones. So we get that estrogen back into our showers. We are showering with high estrogen water, and then you guess why men are half of the men of 50 years ago. And menopause used to start in the 50s, now it's starting in the 40s, and some of our patients even end of 30s. And this is one of the reasons. If you don't care about yourself, if you think, nice, Noah, great that you told us this, but to be honest with you, I don't want to be bothered. Obviously, you'll not be here, but imagine you speak to someone and he's not bothered. At least explain to him that toxicity is transgenerational, up to 4 generations. So we've measured toxicity in adults, and then in adult mice, and then we compartmentalize them in one box, 4 generations with mice, and with cats up to 8 generations. So even if you don't care about yourself, you need to care about our kids and their kids. Now, supplementation. I get that a lot. Which 3, 4, 5 supplements are the best that I should take? First of all, you have to understand that supplements are drugs. There are no plants, there is no tree, there is no animal where you can take the supplements in pill form. So you have to see it as a drug, and yes, you can get a kidney failure from too much zinc or too much B12, right? And you can also get hospitalized from too low zinc and too low magnesium, for example. So how do you choose which supplements? It's on 3 variables. Is how are your blood work, how are your symptoms, and what are your goals? And always based on blood work, right? So that's and supplementation, by the way, is I was in the business of supplements. I brought one company to the stock exchange. It's a supplement company, and I know the lies of supplements and supplement companies. A lot of bullshit in that. The 2 most dangerous supplements are vitamin C and iron. Vitamin C is, first of all, is not vitamin C, it's ascorbic acid. If you are taking vitamin C tonight, go at your box and look if it's ascorbic acid. 99% it will be ascorbic acid. And ascorbic acid is not vitamin C, it's only the outer layer of the vitamin C. And it causes cardiovascular disbalances if you take vitamin C as ascorbic acid. Iron. The Oklahoma University in 1991 discovered that anemia does not exist. What exists is iron disbalance. Most people have way too much iron. It's not being made bioavailable. And why our grandfathers did not have this problem? Very simple, because our grandfather used to eat copper in the form of organs. And that's how we never had problems in the past, and now we have this problem. Right? So never take iron pills. Peptides, we discussed it. You can use peptides for many pathologies, including cancer, and we have seen amazing results with cancer and MS and autoimmune diseases. Exercise, I explained to you, and this is me if you want to have any more private questions or send me love messages, more than welcome. Any questions? I'll take questions now. Yes? Pleasure. Can we give her a microphone, please?
Thank you for your talk. It was very lovely to listen to. My quick question is, you mentioned vitamin C supplements to avoid. I didn't understand why, the mechanism. Why.
So I'm not saying...
Acid.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I'm not saying to avoid vitamin C. I'm saying avoid vitamin C as ascorbic acid, but whole food vitamin C, definitely. Definitely as a woman and also as a man, but definitely as a woman.
Yes, I understood that as a whole food is fine, but as ascorbic acid, why not?
Because ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. The person that won the Nobel Prize by discovering vitamin C was based on red bell peppers, and it was the whole whole bell pepper and extracted that vitamin C. Then they did some research on ascorbic acid, and it showed that it raised the acidity of your blood, and it make the chance of cardiovascular arrest higher. So that's why you don't want to use ascorbic acid.
And what about the iron supplement?
The iron, so a lot of women come to us and they said, yeah, I have, my doctor told me, my GP told me I have anemia, I have an iron deficiency. There is no person on earth that has an iron deficiency, because iron is the most abundant element on earth. Everything is fortified with iron, and you are building up 1 milligram of iron per day in your body. What you want is what you have is iron disbalance, which means you have enough iron, but it's not going there where it needs to be. To activate iron, you need copper. And back in the days, we used to eat organs to activate that copper. It was just a natural process.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Sorry, I'll... Yes, yes. So I'm a big fan. I live on a farm with chickens and cows and everything, and I'm a big believer of a marriage between Mother Nature and the evidence-based science. So if you would want to live as healthy as possible, live as close as possible as your ancestors. So eating organs. If you say, I don't like, my wife hates organs. So I asked our cook to make 52 recipes. I mean, I asked him to make as many recipes as possible until you find something that you like it. And after 52, we found the recipes where she liked it. That's my advice to you. If you definitely don't want to eat organs, there are organ pills and there is copper. But organ pills is a bit better than copper because copper is more isolated. Yes?
The most popular peptide used by your company, the most 5, not more.
So the most popular peptides are, depends of the pathology. I get that question asked a lot. You have to think like this. Depends what your goal is, depends of your blood work, and depends of what you want to solve, what depends what your symptoms. Do you have libido problems, or do you have headache, or do you have brain fog, or is it an energy problem? For me, for example, I can share with you the stacks that I use for energy. I used to love coffee. It came from Ethiopia, from a farm that I know, and I loved coffee. I stopped drinking coffee because I thought, to be honest with you, I have so much energy. I don't need more energy. It's just too much. So I used a stack that made me stop drinking coffee, which is Mod C with NAD+, and I cycle many types of hormone peptides that release hormones. They are called releasing hormones, for like peptides that release hormones. So these are the stacks that I use for energy and muscle strength. And your goal, when you come after 40, is to optimize your strength and the energy. So but you have so many. You have like BPC. You have. I use also lots of immunity peptides like thymosin alpha-1 and epitalon, KPV. Also use it sometimes. There are so many. We produce more than 7,200 peptides. So you name it and it exists. For brain, sometimes like when I go to some competitions, memory competitions, I use Cmax and C-Lank. Cerebrosin is a very good peptide. As I told you, one of our patients is the world memory champion, and he used peptides. He was winning once in a year, twice in a year, and since he used peptides, he's unbeatable for the last 5 years. And I believe it's one of the part is peptides. Yeah. Any other questions? How are we on time?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, thank you very much. Oh, yes?
Thank you. First of all, thank you for the presentation. It was actually quite lovely and very insightful. But in relation to peptides, I've seen them in tablet form. I've seen them obviously in injection form, in pen forms as such, and it's obviously very easy to be able to utilize in tablet form. Would you recommend it as a tablet? Would you recommend it only as an injection? And what's your
Yes,
protocol?
yes, that's actually a very, very good question. He's asking, like, oral or non-oral? Oral, the thing is, if you're taking, except BPC 157 and some other peptides that most people don't use there for cancer and immunity problems, all other peptides, if you take them oral, they are just very expensive urine. They don't work because they don't bypass the gastric acids. So definitely injectables. Yes. Intranasal also. Yes, true. If you have, there are some that are intranasal and they work also very well. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Noah.